Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to Full Throttle Remastered, although we're watching the non-remastered content here. Kind of speed running through this, listening to the developer commentary, which is really the only factor of this area that's slowing anything down. Otherwise we're just speed running the game. There's nothing when I hit A in this section. So we are now to the point where we can come over here and steal the gas. Definitely, if this was a modern game, this would be a bigger city. Thinking about like the Old Haven area in Borderlands, where there was this small town that was its own little section. Even that had more to do in it than what that entire city, which is the first act of this whole game, had to do with it. Let's listen to the commentary.
This is the first scene we did. This is the first thing we ever wired up in the game. Yeah, we did this specifically for, was it CES or whatever else, and we had to get it done, and we had just the assets for this. That cracks me up that we made like a two-room puzzle for CES. Did we do a special version of Ben? Because like he's all darkly black. We didn't have dynamic lighting back then, did we? Right? No. Like nowadays we'd be painted with a certain color that we would like tune up and down. But here we must have painted a whole nother 3D we had in this game.
Was that the CES, Tim, where we had that guy on the motorcycle out in front of the booth?
I don't remember.
Pretending to be Ben Throttle?
Right. I don't remember. Did we have a booth babe, dude?
We had a booth dude, and like all us ladies were.
I just remember looking at the pictures thinking, that guy
was a hunky man.
We all wanted to go take a picture with him.
Looks nothing like
someone. Did I even get to go to that CES?
I don't know.
I don't remember seeing any of this. Tell me about it.
Well, it was just a little, booth in the back, but then there was the guy with the motorcycle right out front. He was totally drawing people in.
No more commentary apparently on that one.
Maureen is the Kath Soucie does the voice. She has a lot of cartoons. You look at the credits for almost any cartoon you're watching, Kath Soucie will show up. She does a great job with Maureen's voice, and she came back later on Brutal Legend and did Lita Halford.
Brutal Legend. You can feel a very spiritual successor to this game. Brutal Legend, I would say, is. Although, in fairness, Brutal Legend is not a point-and-click adventure game. Instead, it is a half action-adventure game RPG and half very strange, like Command and Conquer-esque battle stage game that nobody liked the stage battles, and because of that, the game did not sell well. It was a very poor production mistake that could have drastically changed the game. The Brutal Legend had like Ozzy Osbourne and lots of black metal music, but the actual voice of Ozzy Osbourne, and it should have been a groundbreaking game that is still talked about today and very much loved, but instead it isn't. It's only mentioned by people at Double Fine, and that's kind of it. And to this day, people at Double Fine will still play it on their YouTube channel, but there's not any real interest in it. Let's see, I did a cutscene, and because I did a cutscene, that tells me the prompt again. It's bad game design to have to come back and set off this alarm a second time. There should have been something else you could have done, or a puzzle that used some of the elements that were left over after you solved these 3 puzzles. Let's see. So now you have to use your mouth on the hose. I suppose it's possible that some people may not have ever siphoned anything or thought of siphoning gas out of a tank. It's not something that in a modern day of 2018 when I'm playing this, like I've never in my life had to siphon gas out of a tank, and I don't think it would be very easy to, or very many people have.
Oh, good. You get this from the gas tower?
Not exactly.
Just a pair of new forks and we're on the road.
And because I haven't talked to this lady, she'll still be here, I imagine, when I leave. But she won't be here when I come back in a later act. And so now we're getting to the infamous, supremely difficult puzzle with the dog that is difficult simply because I didn't know you could scroll one screen to the right. And you don't ever do that in any other part of the game. Nor did you do it at the beginning of the game.
This was I feel like this is like one of the first puzzles we designed for the game, and I have fond feelings about it. I don't know if everyone likes this puzzle; they might hate it. But we were like, this game is not going to have a lot of complicated inventory combining puzzles where you collect a whole bunch of stuff and then put it together in inventory. It's going to be mostly all on the screen. So like here you come up and there's a rope, there's a chain you can pull, and it opens the gate, but then you can't keep it open when you run through it. And the trick is to do something counterintuitive. You have to lock the gate. And I was so happy with that because it was all just right on the screen. You didn't have one inventory item, which is the lock. But then again, some people like all puzzles, hate that puzzle.
I think somebody just bumped the microphone in the developer commentary. In the middle of that. And now we have to remember to hold down the left mouse button. Yeah, computers never really adopted a hold down the left mouse button for more menus, which is kind of weird. I mean, you do hold down the right mouse button all the time to bring up a menu, but we expanded it for accessibility for people who had weakness in their fingers, where you can right click and get the menu and you don't have to hold down it. Like right now when I right click on something, it just immediately brings up the inventory, but if I hold it down it also does the same thing. But then you have a different reaction with left click, because left click moves you here, but holding down left click does something different. I think I just accidentally triggered that. Some missing frames of animation when he comes back up.
There's my car, my actual car. So
Oh, that's the Tim Mobile?
yeah.
Do you still have that car?
It's in a garage in Reading because I was driving. I inherited. I bought the car for my dad, which is his '69 Le Mans, which is it looks like a GTO. It's a really fun car to have. And then I go at lunch one day with a bunch of LucasArts coworkers in it. Someone before I started it, someone was like, "Do you smell gas?" And I was like, "No, you're silly." And I started it, and then boom.
That was me and Michelle Harrell.
Yeah. And do you remember like black smoke came out of the defroster
we
bins?
just it's
and
a
it was
convertible.
Yeah, we had John. I was like, "Get out of the car!"
Jump
Jumped out, and I run to this jewelry store to use 911. And secretly, I've been wanting to call 911 all my life, right? Like you just be like, "Oh, someday I'm gonna." So I call it,
And they're like, "You're at the jewelry store. Is it a robbery? What's going on?"
and I ran back to the car, and there was a pool of fire underneath the car, and there were already fire people there, like firefighters there, because I was across the street from the fire department. I could have just run. I could have run to the fire department and bring them over. And anyway, they put out the fire, and then it was really bad. There's bubbles embedded in the windshield from just the heat. And you guys went. You guys go back to the office. So you guys went back to the office while I hung around with the tow truck, and you told Peter Chan what had happened. And so Peter Chan happened to be painting this art. And so he's like, "Well, I guess Tim's car is toast. I'll put it in the junkyard." And he painted my beautiful car in the junkyard.
That was when you actually had to run somewhere to make a phone call.
Yep.
Something they overlooked there, that these are like hand-painted background art pieces. Funnily enough, I have forgotten what I was supposed to be doing in this. Let's see if we can actually solve this puzzle without the dog chasing me once. Let's see. dog meat with car.
Here, Poochie Pooch. Pooch.
I'll go ahead and hit A.
Bon appetit, mutt.
There's no developer commentary right now. So I think this is the same commentary. And then I think I have to click here. To get up to this part. And we'll hit A just to see if there's any commentary. And I think if I bring this down and then bring this up, and then click with the left mouse button, and then do this. Like, I thought that was the puzzle. Is that you were supposed to actually crush the dog, and just this joking, the comedic dog murdering sequence that you wouldn't put it past a hardened biker guy to potentially do that. Or at the very least, you wouldn't put it past the game to say, no, I won't do that. I mean, he does go throughout the whole game saying, I'm not going to put my mouth on that, on things, even though the mouth so you get the music to play back so that you know you've done the right thing. Now if I was to hit this, it just drops him and the dog seems to be fine. This dog seems to be rather capable of surviving quite a lot. And this will be the same commentary still. And that's pretty much the end of Act 1. We solved it without the dog chasing us even once. And I seriously doubt there would be any audio commentary in that cutscene of the dog chasing us. So... And you'd think you'd keep the lockpick for the rest of the game and use it in several places. You don't.
Forks. Where'd you find them?
Right next to the knives and spoons.
Well, that's it. Wait outside for a minute and I'll finish her up. I'm working on a surprise.
And same commentary here.
Hey, I've been meaning to ask you, what's this picture of?
Oh, that's
Oh, so you
Caramel
can't
this place he called to me.
avoid seeing this
He left it to me.
part because it's story.
That place went belly up long before he died. But I still go back there whenever I need to get away for a while.
Okay, just curious. Now I'm out of here.
So they programmed it.
Done with my bike.
They programmed it very specifically
Stop the ambush.
so that you get that information.
Somewhere between here and Corville. My crew is escorting some VIP.
And that conversation has to happen.
Thanks for the lift. Now I got a quote for you.
Alright, here she comes.
See, that's almost too comedic to have all of these actions occur in a row.
Am I cool or what?
You're amazing. I should crash that thing every day. So what's the surprise?
Oh, just your average everyday pre-regulation destroyer class solid fuel recoil booster?
You're serious?
Yes.
But only the vultures.
Did you notice the tattoo foreshadowing on Maureen's? She's got a little bit of a vulture's tattoo because it's like a big spoilers. I won't say in case you're playing this game and you don't know. But there's some foreshadowing right there.
Why would you be listening to the dev commentary the first time?
Months ago, asking for the definitive version of the vulture's tattoo because she was going to get.
Oh my god! Wow.
gonna ink it on her, and I'm like, I don't know. There's the pixelated version, but it's so messed up. And then there's a sketch that I have, but it's not the final one because I think trying to translate it to pixels and then shrinking it down, a lot of that didn't read. So I'm trying to figure out. I don't know what to tell her, which is the official one, because it's kind of. I just sent her a bunch of stuff and said, take your best guess. I don't know.
It's a little weird that Ben Throttle here didn't ask Mo to ride with him or come with him and help. She seemed like she's pretty capable, and he could use all the help he could get. Like a one-man army, he may think he is, but he really isn't. And this will be the same commentary.
One of the really fun things about sound design,
I guess it isn't.
is Michael and Peter and I would occasionally have lunch with Gary Rydstrom, who was a sound designer up at Lucasfilm and Skywalker Sound, and he did the sound for Titanic and Jurassic Park and Saving Private Ryan, come on, this is one of the very top sound designers in the world, and just having conversations with him. That's when we decided to really record a lot of the sounds originally. Go out in
The subtitles are moving too fast.
And then also combining things creatively. People all talk about it today, but back then it was a little bit new, I think, in the games industry to say, combine the lion roar with the kickstart of the bike.
It's moving way too fast.
First game we did it on, because playing Dot recently, I was like, I think these all came off a CD. I think all the sound effects in Dot, there's a lot of like
We
from
were lucky to even
a cartoon sound effects library, and then immediately with Throttle, it's like you started the bees in the jar.
Like, I cannot even read the subtitles. They're moving so fast.
You got 4 motorcycles.
Wow.
Like the 4 different motorcycle tribes, the gangs in the game. You had the bees in a jar that were slowed down a lot for the Rottweilers, and sped up a lot for the cavefish. So what do you remember the components of like Ben's bike?
Well, Ben's, we hired a biker from San Francisco who had a Harley chopper.
Very customized.
Very not painted. It was all just sort of nickel colored and straight pipes, which basically were like cannons going off every stroke. And there's just so many stories about that whole recording session.
Set off car alarms in his neighborhood when he drove through it.
Set off car alarms, and he was the real deal too. I mean, he he had a couple bikes, but he brought that one up to Marin, and we had a whole long recording session, and that ended up being Ben's bike.
Wait, I want to hear about how you got the bees in the jar.
Oh, I think that was a library.
That actually was a library sound, but we used a lot of
Well, I thought you captured all the bees. It must have taken all day.
Heard a lot.
I remember Gary Rydstrom came around and actually looked at the game when we were working on it.
Subtitles also aren't saying the same thing that they're saying in the dialogue.
And looped it for an element when the bike is just idling, and he goes, "Nice loop." That's one of the things you just.
But whatever, I thought there was a donkey bang and a jet engine and a line roar. So those are the other biker gangs, not Ben's bike?
In Ben's bike, the main thing was the lion when he kicks it over. The lion roar with the sound of a bike being kicked over. And then the purring. It was not a purr, but it's kind of like a throaty growl of the tiger for when it's just idling.
Wow, they had to speed it up so much just so the subtitles would end at the same time. That's some craziness. Also, it's a nice reminder that all sound effects have to kind of come from something in nature. Like, if you can't in the real world naturally make a sound, you'd have to try to use some kind of computer program to play very specific frequencies in such a weird, like, mosaic of patterns that it would be beyond the mental capability of anyone I could think of on the planet to actually make a new sound directly by playing frequencies in tiny nanosecond fragments. And so it's a lot easier, and it's a time-honored tradition of you get animals and just sounds that objects make, and you do your Foley artistry to make sounds like that work as sounds for other things. To the point where now things like kicks and punches, which are actually very soft and quiet in the real world, don't feel realistic unless you have Foley artistry making kicks and punches in the movie feel and sound like they are these over-the-top loud things. So movies are actually not very realistic. I doubt this is new commentary.
This is the first scene we
Yep.
did.
We'd already done that, and we'd already heard about this one, so we can just set off the alarm again. Like,
Hear that? He's back at the gas tower. He's got a lot of nerve, that piece of trash. Let's get him. All units follow me.
See, what I would have done is had him go back to the gas tower, try to set off the alarm, see that it's been shut off, and then had a secondary puzzle where he needed to make a bomb or something and blow up the gas tower and get people's attention. That would have been interesting. Is there commentary on this? I guess not. And you don't even do anything in this section.
Are we headed for trouble? No. We're in it.
And then we're very much back to this being a MTV cartoon. See, this is just bad pre-production. Like, a modern game should have clearly decided whether it was going to be a cutscene animation for MTV or if it was going to be a video game. And there's just too many cutscenes in the for the modern day, and there's too many cutscenes for the time that this game came out. I could easily see a lot of people not liking this game just because it was too short. And I suppose if I hadn't convinced her, then she wouldn't have been allowed. She wouldn't have been in the position to take pictures if she hadn't left. And it feels like that's the end of the photographer girl. Which, if it was going to just be a cutscene game, well, a MTV TV show or movie, I imagine that the photographer girl would have come back into the story. Still no commentary. Not too much really has changed in motorcycles. They still, at least from the outside, look the same today as they did when this game came out. So we could have, if you were to make a modern sequel to this, it would still just be a lot more motorcycles on screen, a lot more characters, a lot more resolution and quality.
Also easier to animate the villain really small and reflection.
And wiggly in a toaster.
It's a little weird we don't have more characters that have motorcycles, and just as a side note.
What's that moving over there by that pile?
I don't know, Rick, but I think that pile is boats.
Yes, now I remember. You're the smart one, aren't you? There's Mo's shack, but I don't see the limo. Maybe I beat them here.
And so this is the third time that you come back to this scene. Which is rather repetitive.
Chan does a lot of designs where you can see like the story of the town is that it's sunk.
So this is the same audio commentary we'd already done. We don't need to do that again.
I don't have anything.
And we'll pick up some debris.
Search this place in a hurry. Nothing left but debris, except for that smashed up camera. Back's open. No film inside. Mo said she didn't have a camera. Here's Mo's picture of her and her Uncle Pete at his mink ranch. She said she went there whenever she needed to get away for a while. That's pretty much my only lead right now.
And because I didn't actually ask her about the photograph and it triggered that right at the end, you literally went from a forced cutscene to see and hear about that photo to the cutscene that we just saw to this cutscene where he talks about that's probably where she went. Let's hit A again. It's the same commentary. So I think in our speed running of this we can now run back to the bar. Like this commentary is the same.
One of the really fun things about sound design for this game.
And so
Not on foot.
I think we have to use the bike and then we can go this way. Part of the strategy here to stretch out the game and make it feel like you're doing more in less locations fails because you're looping very closely. Like if I come back to this bar at the beginning, near the end of the game, that would have been a nice like Act 2, Act 3 callback. But to still be in Act 1 and return to this area when we really haven't gotten even 2 areas ahead is just repetitive. A much better example of this would be, say, Portal, where in either Portal 1 or Portal 2, you get back to the puzzle room 1 and the early puzzles after the midway point of the game, and everything has changed and it's impactful and a nice reminder. In this instance, I don't need to be reminded of this bar because I just was here. Let's see if this commentary is any different.
I remember we didn't want to talk about, at one point the schedule was flipped, but I didn't want to talk about how much because I was too scared to think about it. And you're like, do you want to know what the budget is? I'm like, no. I was like, what is it? No, what is it? It was like, it's $1 million. And we had like gone from Monkey Island, which was, I think was $200,000, and just had never conceived of money like that before. And like this game's, the first one is like, it's $1 million.
You could only whisper the amount.
I remember breaking that mark and everybody talking about like, holy crap. $1 million.
I do. I remember spending countless hours just staring at the budget, where I'd like have to put in the actuals for the month, and then based off of that, project how the rest was going to change, and add more months and more dollars.
And in video game programming, particularly, money equals time because you're paying employees to make something while not getting any return from it until the game is finished. And to compare that from the time that this game was made to modern times, there is American McGee, creator of the Alice series, is trying to kickstart a Kickstarter to run an advertisement campaign to make a second Kickstarter to get $10 million to make a modern 3D action platformer that would be in the niche horror, psychological horror genre of the Alice and Alice Madness Returns series called Alice Asylum. So $10 million, probably maybe a little bit less than what you would need to make a point-and-click adventure in a AAA quality point-and-click adventure in 2018, but it would be kind of close. I could say maybe you could do it on 2 million, and you certainly could do it on a lot less if you're just one person using a modern like adventure game studio is like a almost free engine that you can make. The horror game The Cat Lady, for instance, is basically a point-and-click adventure, and I doubt it spent even $2 million to make the game. On the other hand, that does require you to have an artist, and that would be the number one thing is, do you have a good artist? And number two, following it up close, is do you have a good writer? Sound, music, you could probably license music, or not even have that much music in your game. Let's take a moment. We're almost done with Act 1. We were 12% done in the first 30 minutes in our speedrun. We are now 33% done. So that puts us right around 3 hours, I think, to beat this whole game in this speedrun thing. Now, we're not unlocking any new bonuses, and we're not doing a lot of comparisons in which we hit F1 and swing back and swing. While I still don't really like the artistic style of the remastered, it does work, it does look better. I would say the graphics don't look inherently so awful that this is unplayable on a modern computer screen, because they spent the time and the effort to make every pixel count, and you can still see what it's supposed to be. You just have to use your imagination. Well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my video. If you want to support me further, gift me a game on Steam. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good